Familiar faces here today, and I know that I'm super excited to share this creative forum with you. The whole part of the creative forum is a discussion in regards to the creative blocks, what's stopping us, what's preventing us from being creative, what's preventing us from channeling that creative energy, and what to do about it, and how to create that space for us to invite more of that creative energy. So I'm going to jump right in, and I'm going to share a couple of things with you, and I'm going to talk while we're looking at these diagrams. So first we're going to talk about the blocks, like what's actually blocking the creative process. And the first thing, let me just take this out of the screen. So the first thing is you're trying to be perfect. Basically, subconsciously, we know that our soul is perfect. And because we know that our soul is perfect, we sometimes forget that our soul is having a human experience. So this is the time for us to mold our human to be perfect. And it really just takes step by step, day by day, trying to create a better version of yourself. And the second one is you're trying to compete with others. Now, I believe that healthy competition is when we're competing with our own self, not with others. Because when we start competing with other people, we automatically start comparing ourselves to other people. And what happens? We spiral down the road into depression, low self-esteem, low self-worth, and so forth. The next one is you're afraid to make mistakes. Now, when we're afraid to make mistakes, we continuously stay in this comfort zone. But when we're staying in a comfort zone, we actually are unable to grow. So staying in the comfort zone is good until the universe comes in and literally just kicks you out of that comfort zone, and you have no choice but to actually start making steps into developing further or growing further. And the next one would be you're afraid of other people's opinions. Now, in truth, we're really only afraid of people's opinions who we hold in authority. Because if somebody comes in who you really don't care about, whose opinion doesn't matter to you and says something to you that's critical, you really wouldn't give 2 cents about it. You're just going to brush it off, get up and walk away, and that's it. But if it's somebody who's important to you, you're actually going to take it to the heart. You're going to take it personal. So, in a sense of positive critical criticism, when somebody comes in and gives you creative constructive criticism, that's really a positive thing, because you're going to walk away with some tips and some knowledge that's going to actually give you positive feedback, positive way of going forward and growing, and also learning and maybe collecting new skills and so forth. The next one is you have too many ideas. I really don't know why that's a problem, because I had clients come to me say, oh my God, I have so many ideas. I don't know what to do with them. Now that's a problem. If you have a lot of ideas, that's great. If you don't know what to do with them, that's a problem. And if you have a lot of ideas, like for example, if you look behind me right now, I don't know if you can see that. Let me stop sharing for a moment. If you see that right there in the background, those are my journals. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 journals that I have kept in the past 3 years, which means that all of my ideas, all of my poems, all of my songs, all of my I can't say that I keep a daily journal, like a daily diary, but I do sometimes, where there's so much information coming through, I have to write it down. Otherwise, it's so overwhelming that I can't sleep, or it's really a constant like buzzing in my head. So the biggest advice that I can give, in the sense of you have so many ideas, is to keep a journal, and actually keep 2. in a way of one where you can write down things that are bothering you or things that are coming up that you need to kind of vent out. And another one is ideas that come through to you, poems, song lyrics, themes for chapters in a new book or in an online program or anything like that. That would really help you organize those many ideas that you have. So let's move on to the next one. The next one is you program yourself for writer's block. Okay, so we know about NLP. NLP is neurological linguistic programming. What happens when we start saying, for example, I'm sure you've heard of this before, right? Saying things like, I'm not inspired, I'm not getting creative, nothing is coming to me, it's like I hit a dry spell, I'm out of ideas, I lost my creative juices, and so forth. If that is something that is similar to you, go ahead and write in the chat yes. Because a lot of us really do start saying things like, I'm not good enough, or and those who are coming, please mute your mics so you're not interrupting, please. Thank you. And so basically, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this scientist called Masaru Emoto. If you could share the quotes, that would be great. So this book really changed my life. Now, I'm not just about spirituality. I'm not just about, breath work and things like that. I was always in search for answers. It was always very important for me from the scientific point of view, understand what truly happens to my brain, what truly happens to my body. Now, this man really changed my life. And if you could please share the quotes in the chat, that would be great. Yes, thank you. So it says in the book, The Hidden Messages in the Water, it says, existence is vibration. The entire universe is in a state of vibration, and each thing generates its own frequency, which is unique. Now, this is said by a scientist, a person who has done so much research in the laboratory. And I don't know if you've ever seen these type of images. I don't know if you can see this very well, but this is what water molecules look like when you have positive words like I love you, thank you, gratitude. So what happens when we constantly program ourselves with things that are of negative attributes? I'm not inspired, I hit a dry spell, nothing is coming to me. In that type of environment, nothing is going to come in, because the universe is to think, oh, that's what you want, that's what you need, that's what you're calling for, so that's what I'm gonna give you. Nothing. Because that's what you're putting out there. Nothing is coming to me, so nothing is going to come to you. The next quote is, what you really know is possible in your heart is possible. We make it possible by our will. What we imagine in our minds becomes our world. That's just one thing that I have learned from water. And we know that the human body is it was 75% of water, right? Liquid. So if we constantly programming ourselves for something negative, we're basically contaminating, poisoning our body and our mind slowly by these type of words. Now, I also, so Trans Breath Multidisciplinary Program, that's part of my school, Breathworks Miracles. And it's based on ancient philosophies and modern psychology. So a lot of times I will use Japanese writers, Japanese quotes, because that's part of something that was infused in my culture. I come from Kazakhstan. So just so you're aware of why I'm quoting specifically these people. Now, so we're walking into a space of energy and vibration. So a friend of mine, Melanie Roski, she's from Singapore. She says that your frequency is your currency. And one of the things that Reiki teaches us, for example, is Kotodama. Koto means word, Dhamma means the spirit behind the word. So here we are constantly programming ourselves for, again, I'm not getting inspired. I'm not getting any creative juices moving through me. I'm not channeling anything. So we're literally programming our frequency and our environment and lowering it down. And in order for us to reach higher, to clear that space, to have that energy move through us, to channel more energy, we need to really rethink how we're speaking, not just out loud. Out loud, we're already talking about more of our biofields, right, and our aura system, but our thinking. Like, what are you thinking about? What kind of emotions are behind these thoughts? So I'm going to talk a little bit about imprints. I'm not a Michelangelo. I'm not like a pro painter or anything like that, but I will try my best. So this is the head. This is the nose, the mouth, kind of, okay. All right, that's good enough. So imprints, we have deep imprints in our brain, in our mind. In what happens is when we start speaking out loud these type of negative attributes, negative things, this deepens our imprints because the emotion there is not very helpful. It's not positive. It's negative. And the deeper that emotion is, the deeper the imprints are. And the deeper imprints, they're harder to, well, I mean, we can't really remove them, but what we can do is we can substitute them or reprogram them into something new, into something that is more, that gives you more juice, right? So one of the things that I really like saying when a negative thought comes in is I say, okay, cancel that thought, and I give 3 good things about it. So for example, I'm not inspired. Cancel that thought. Inspiration comes to me on a daily basis. I get inspired by, say, nature. I get inspired by my friends. I get inspired by. And that brings already this positive emotion that really supports that and takes away the power from that negative imprint. So we're going to go and move to the next one. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and drop it in a chat. So you have ideas that you are afraid to bring to the light. This is a really good one because a lot of times people come to me and they say, you know, I'm afraid that no one is going to resonate. I'm afraid that I'm not going to touch anybody or move anybody. And they just have a pile of amazing, brilliant ideas. So the way I like to do it is I like saying, go ahead and take a piece of paper, take a pen, and write down. There's 8 billion people in this world. 8 billion. Statistics shows that there's about 600 million children. So we're going to take those out. And there's about, let's say, so that's about what, 7.5 billion people, right? So then we're going to take out half of that. I'm going to round it up. So it's going to be about 3 billion people. So 3 billion people. Okay, half of these people do not resonate with your theme. We're going to cut that in half. So that's 1.5 billion people, right? So 1.5 billion people. And then we just walk down. We come up with the greatest excuses that you can come up with your biggest fears, whatever they are. And we just walk them down the line. And I guarantee you that there's going to be one person in this world whose life you can change with your ideas. one person. And that's really truly what you really need, is to move one person. That's the greatest gift that anybody can give. A writer, a singer, a songwriter, an artist, a painter, whoever you are, whatever your niche is, if you can move, if you can change or inspire at least one person's life, you made it. You did it. Now we're going to move to the next section, because I'm going to come back to these a little later and talk about it in a little bit more depth. Let's see, let's share the screen again. You're going through life changes and haven't integrated their experiences yet. So this was a big one for me. This was a big one for me because when I was writing music, I was writing from a space of suffering and pain. Truly, suffering and pain is what inspired me. That was my thing. And about 10 years ago, when I went onto this spiritual healing path, I stopped writing. And it wasn't because I wasn't getting inspired or I wasn't being moved by something. It's just I haven't experienced that what I wanted to write about yet. I was still in my healing process. I was still going through something that I haven't integrated yet into reality. And a lot of times people, I just had a couple of artists who came to me to work with me about this. And they were also kind of saying, you know, I'm on a dry spell. And then I asked them, well, what's happening with you in your life? What's actually happening to you that you're unable to produce, right? To produce product, to produce your creative. And it would just happen that in their life, they were going through one lady, one girl, she lost her mother. Another one, gentleman, he lost his job. Another guy, he was getting a divorce and he was fighting for his children. So that's really a traumatic time where someone can actually use to produce something new, some material, because it inspires them and it allows them to, I don't want to say vent, but it allows them to bring their emotions onto the paper or onto music, right? For example. But for some, it's time to heal and to integrate. It's taking time for themselves to honor that space of healing, of grieving, of time to really just be with family, be with themselves, be with their grief, how long ever it takes. And then allowing the integration time to take place. A lot of times we think, okay, I'm done with all of this, I'm over with the pain and blah, 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 and then we just go for it. But then we come back and then like it hits us really hard because we're like, wait a second, I didn't even give myself time to integrate. I didn't even give myself time to grow into a completely new version of myself. Because these traumatic events usually are the reason why we grow, are the reason why we step into a completely new role, a completely new self. And so the next one is you haven't experienced that which you want to write about. So that really ties into the previous one, because here you are, you integrated. But then there's like that space. Why I just got silent? Because it's like that space where you actually now have to experience life from a new version of yourself. So now there's a new version of yourself and you have to experience that so you are able to gain that time and experience so you can write from a new point of view, from a new version of you. And the last one over there was you judge yourself. So as a musician, I know that the biggest thing for us, for musicians, and I think I would say for everybody really, is we are our own worst judge. Why? Because a lot of times we have really high expectations we have specific standards that we want to uphold, and or we want to reach a specific level of our lifestyle, I don't know, money, relationships, family, everything. There's like this ideal self, an idea. And so over here, we forget to give ourselves credit. So, one of the things I do advise is to take a journal specifically that is going to be only dedicated, for example, to gratitude. And every day, at least write down 5 to 10 things which you're grateful for. And these type of things are going to help you. Um, Again, yes, please, if you just coming in, mute your mics. Thank you so much. And so, if you're coming in every day and you're writing down what you're grateful for, you're actually giving yourself credit, what you're grateful for, what you did today. And that gives you confidence. And I advise to do this before you go to sleep, because then it makes you feel fulfilled, as if you have accomplished something. And it can be just little things, For example, people who come to me with depression, who don't want to do anything. They just I just want to lay there and that's it. And I'm like, okay, so when you're laying there, what do you do? Oh, I'm on my phone, I watch TV. I'm like, no, that's not doing anything. You're actually doing something. You're wasting time. So if you're depressed and you don't want to do anything, give yourself space and time not to do anything. Lay on the couch. Just lay there. But you're not allowed to watch TV. You're not allowed to get on the phone. You're not allowed to do all these other things, because you're not actually witnessing yourself, the state that you're in. And that's very important, to be witness of what is happening to you. Because when you're witnessing of what's happening to you and you're tuning into those spaces that are really empty, that's when you will know, you will hear your intuition and you will know, okay, this is what I need. This is the space that needs to be filled in. And the way I advise to do it is journaling. Pen to paper exercises are the best exercises, because you bring out your emotions onto the paper. And once you bring your emotions onto the paper, again, you're already writing. So this is, we're talking about creative blocks, right? So if you're in the creative block, but you're also depressed and you're going through these emotional things, you're still now putting pen to paper. You are writing now. I strongly advise everyone who's new, who just started to come in, these are my journals that I've kept in the past 3 years. Just so you see, there's 9 of them there. They're all full, because I have new ones right here. They're just not full. But yes, so I advise people to keep a journal. Now, the interesting part is that you'd say, okay, well, what do I do with all that? So what do? You start writing. You start writing books. Tanya, if you could share a link to my book, please. This is Facilitator's Handbook. So when I was in depression, in a state of depression, apparently I was writing a lot of questions that I was asking myself. And I did not know how to answer some, because some were just like random questions. But this book is the collection of many of those questions that I asked myself. And this book will help you get out of different states, out of different creative blocks. It has different type of diagrams. Like, for example, frame shifting. So perfect. Frame shifting, how to shift your frame of thinking. How do you do it? What to do it? And yes, just a moment. The link, your inner journey is the link. Your inner journey. Yeah, so the name of the book is Your Inner Journey. I apologize, we're having some technical difficulties. So, yeah, there you go. Thank you. So, okay, I'm going to share that to everybody because you just shared that with me. All right. So, there's a link to my book. You can purchase it on Amazon. It will help you bring out a lot of blockages from you, and it's also going to guide you in many different ways. It combines self analysis, family dynamics, and love and relationships. So now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so tips: become friends with time. This is one of my favorite ones. It's not said by me, it's said by a friend of mine. Uh, what does it mean, becoming friends with time? I think it's a great
I
phrase,
start reading
really.
all the time,
And understanding how to really follow through your own schedule, setting aside time for yourself, taking care of yourself, and then also setting time and space specifically for your creative writing. Whether you're, a singer songwriter, whether you're, I don't know, a poet, or even actually a painter, anyone can, I think, can relate to this. Really, I think it's very general, and really dedicating that time specifically just for that, nothing else. And trust the process. Really do trust the process, because sometimes we start even doubting that. Now, listening to your intuition is very important. When we listen to our intuition, it really guides us into where where you should go. And sometimes we do need to just vent and to just write. There's a video on how to develop your intuition that you can check out on YouTube. I just posted it this morning, and it talks about how to develop your intuition, how to listen to your intuition. Why I'm talking about intuition right now? Because intuition is very important in developing our creative channels. Why? Because a lot of times intuition, I mean, we all know, I'm sure everybody knows that intuition is a voice from our heart, but it's also the higher consciousness, right? And that's where we really channel that creative. The creative energy and the creative information is channeled from there, but it connects to our heart. And then it speaks through our words, or it speaks through our music, or it speaks through our painting, our creative. So, if you need to learn how to develop your intuition, or you want to learn more about it, you can check out that link and check out the video. So, back to our slide. So, creative mess is still a mess. Now, there's so many times. I mean, I went to Cal Arts. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar. California Institute of the Arts in Los Angeles. It's a school, it's a university built by Disney. And Disney had this huge dream, creating a school where all the creative people come together, and there's nothing else but creative arts. Musicians, animators, dancers, theater, painters, sculptors, everyone you could think about, designers, graphic designers, they were all together were there. And I gotta tell you, 100%, if you would go into every single person's dorm room, it was a total mess. Do you know where people were spending most of their time in? The library. Because in the library, everything was super organized, everything was super clean, and you could actually think there. I had this guy come in and tell me, would say, you have a lot of visual noise around here. I'm like, what? What? Visual noise? And he said, yeah, it's very distracting. You have so much stuff laying around. It's like, how do you live? How do you even think like this? And I was like, it's a creative mess. He's like, it's still a mess. So that really made me reflect on, wait a second. I love this phrase, visual noise. I love this phrase. So it really stuck with me for quite some time. and made me realize that, like, wait a second, I really do get super aggravated when things are messy, when things don't have their own place, their own space. I don't really pay attention to it. But when I clean and everything is neat and tidy, I feel relaxed. I feel like there's so much space for me to create. And that's another thing. This is actually, this is not my program, but it's a program of a dear friend of mine, actually. Her name is Sarah Eggert, and she's a feng shui. She's a feng shui expert, and so I'm gonna give you a free link to her Bago map. And she talks there a lot about different ways of how you can create a harmonious space in your place, to get the chi going, to get the energy going, talking about 4 different elements. And the reason why I'm saying this is because all of these things I'm mentioning, they keep us away from being creative. Again, we're talking about blocks, right? So eventually we're going to get to the point where we're talking about how to, and oh, the link, I'm sorry. There you go. Here's the link. Oh, just a moment. Here's the link. Okay. So, right. So let's go back to our screen. Okay, organize your space. We just talked about meet new people. All right. So some of us are introverts. Some of us are extroverts. Some of us are ambiverts. Now, this thing just came out recently, I think a couple of years ago. But apparently I'm an ambivert. Understanding who you are, whether you're introvert or extrovert or ambivert, is very, very important. Why? Because, for example, as an ambivert, I really need my own space. But then sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I'm done. I need to get out of here. And I pack my stuff and I go travel around the world. And I start meeting different people. And I see different things. I change my environment. It kind of actually like throw myself out of a usual comfort zone, right? And I start meeting other people and I start traveling and I start experiencing new things that I've never experienced before. And that expands my consciousness. It expands my view. It expands, the experience. It really expands my world, right? It expands my universe. And so now I have a lot of new information. So what do? I go home. I close my door. I'm like, nobody talk to me. I'm tired of people. I don't want to see anybody. I just want to be with me, myself, and I. That's it. And I go through the process again that I mentioned earlier, integration. So now I'm integrating the new experiences. And once I integrate that, I need to also use it and develop further in becoming this new version of myself. And then use it to my advantage to start producing more. So the last one, what was the last one? Let's see, the last one. Take yourself out on an artistic date. Okay, this is really, really powerful. I love this. And this is actually comes from Julia Cameron. And take yourself out on an artistic date. If you think about it, it sounds so lonely and so strange, right? Taking yourself out on a date. But when you actually do it, you're going to have so much fun. Why? Because you're organizing yourself your perfect date, your perfect artistic date. I'm going to show this book to you. Now, the funny thing is like my mom gave this book to me when I was in 2002. So I was 20 years old. And she gave me this book and it was on my shelf for about 12 years. Because at the time, I just got out of school. I got a $2 million record deal. I was like writing albums, working with best producers in the world. I didn't have time to be like, wait, the artistic workbook. I was already, so much juice was flowing through me, so much creativity. I was in the studio from noon to midnight every day by like 3 months at a time, writing albums, producing, making music, meeting people. So it was like, but uh, in the beginning of the lecture, many of you are just coming in. But in the beginning of the lecture, I was saying that um, when I was writing from a space of suffering, a space of pain. And from 10 years of experience of writing albums that were all about that, and I remember my producers would tell me, they're like, my God, dude, all of your songs are all about pain and suffering. Like, can we do something fun? Can you write some fun song? I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's like write a song called Don't Take Your Love Away, which was on Billboard's hit #1 for like 7 weeks. #1 album in crossover in several different categories. But if you think about it, yeah, the song is like, don't take your love away, love away, love away, don't take your love away. Listen to the lyrics. They're sad. Like you're asking someone not to take their love away. The beat was fun, the song is fun, but the message behind the song is really sad. So that made me think like, oh my God, that actually didn't make me think. My forgiveness single is what made me think really a lot. But at the time, I was invited to NASA, and we did different experiences on cognitive brain activity, what happens to our brain when we're listening to specific music. And that was the whole point of the experiment, is I was given 10 subjects, 10 people who listened to my song Forgiveness. And then they asked me to just literally just vocally improvise for 10 people. And when I did that, I literally saw the difference of the brain of activity of the people who were listening to my song Forgiveness, how the different emotions were coming out of them, and when they listened to just my simple vocal improvisation. The brain activity was very different. When they were listening to my vocal improvisation, they went into theta brain activity, theta hertz. When they were listening to Forgiveness, it's a very powerful, it's a slow song, it's a heartfelt song, but they were going into more, like their hertz was going up above 30. That's anxiety, that's stress. And that made me think like, oh my God, my song, yeah, I was selected for Grammy nominations for it, but what is it doing? It's creating this psychological pressure for someone because they forgot to forgive somebody. They need to forgive somebody, or they need to ask for forgiveness from someone. So that really made me think. And so what I did based on that knowledge, I created a 3-week meditation system for 7 chakra healing, and I use Shinto shamanic healing sounds, and I do vocal improvisation. Also, each of the tracks is tuned to a specific frequency of the chakra system, and it's also using beta beats and binaural beats, and it allows you to go into deep state of trance, but you're still aware of what's happening, but it doesn't trigger those stress points, and it really allows you to go deep within and heal that energy, whatever it is your intention is going to be set when you listen to them. But I want to actually move on to the next one because we're already to the next one. So some of these things I already actually mentioned. Tips on how to, let's see, let me share this. Okay, tips on how to, all right, I love this. Now this is my quote. Be perfect in your imperfections. Make sure if you ever use this quote, you say Julie King said this, because it's my quote. I need to copyright it, but it truly, some guy I went on a date. After that date, I never went on a date with this guy again. But I remember he was telling me, kind of trying to, put me down mentally or whatever, trying to manipulate. And he told me, he's like, "You're not perfect." And I said, "You know what? I'm perfect in my imperfections." And when I said that, it wasn't coming from the space of my ego. It was coming from a space of me feeling comfortable in my own skin and feeling confident with who I truly am. And it took me a very long time to get to that. But when these words came out of my mouth, I was like, wow, I really am. I really am perfect in my imperfections, and I'm totally fine with it. I'm totally okay with that. Because every day, no matter what, I take necessary steps to be better than I was yesterday. Know your worth. When you know your worth, you don't lower your standards. And I'm talking about this allows you to bring in more creative juices in your life. Because when you have the confidence, when you have self-awareness, when you have this trust in your authenticity, you're going to set healthy boundaries. And the most important thing about healthy boundaries is for you not to cross your own healthy boundaries. And if you're not crossing your boundaries, then no one else will ever cross them, because you're not going to allow them to do that. From mistakes, we learn and grow. We already covered that in the beginning. I kind of went through it. So next one is everybody has an opinion, like everybody has their own perception. I hope there's no kids here, because this phrase, the last word there is not perception. This phrase comes from someone very dear to me when I was very depressed and I had a lot of different critics telling me like my work is trash. I can't write. I don't have enough of English. I'm a terrible songwriter. My lyrics are shit, pardon my French, and so forth. This person, I was crying, and this person said, everybody has an opinion, like everybody has their own a-hole. And when this person said that to me, I started laughing, and I couldn't stop laughing because I realized it's true. Everyone will have their own opinion based on their own perception. And sometimes, if we truly believe in ourselves and we know our worth and we believe in our authenticity and we're being authentic to ourselves, we're not actually going to take someone else's opinion to the heart. We might analyze it. If it's constructive criticism and it helps us grow, we're going to take that opinion and we're going to do something about it and apply somewhere, to be better. But again, we kind of went over this in the beginning, and I see that people are still coming into the workshop, and we're about to step into breath work, actually, guys. But you can also watch this recording on the Breathing Arts YouTube channel later on, so you can catch up. But the next one is having a lot of ideas is great. Write them all down, organize your thoughts. Again, like I was showing earlier, and to those who are just coming in, all of these, there's 9 journals right there. They're all full of ideas, full of poetry, full of songs, full of lyrics, full of life experiences. And these are just in the past 3 years. And the rest in the past, 30 something are in a box in my mom's garage somewhere, which I really need to take out. Maybe I have some great ideas in there. I'm sure I do. So, okay, next we're gonna go. Let me share the screen again. Okay, so where thought goes, energy flows, and vice versa. Where energy flows, the thought goes. So going back to what we're talking about earlier, what I was talking about earlier is about what you program yourself with. What are you thinking? What are you saying out loud? Are you saying, yes, I welcome all the creative juices. I welcome all the inspiration and creativity, and I'm going to go and do something fun that's going to inspire me or make me be more creative. Are you doing that? Or are you going, I'm not inspired. I'm like, I hit the dry spell. It's like a desert. Yeah, nothing is coming to me. So again, if we say that, nothing is going to come to you. I mean, if you're not welcoming something, nothing is going to come. Because again, the universe only hears nothing is coming, and she doesn't want, or he doesn't want anything to come. That's the message I'm getting. So that's exactly what you're going to get, is nothing. Next. You never know who you may inspire. As I was saying earlier, there's 8 billion people in this world. We're going to take out the children, which statistics shows that there's over 600 million children. And then we're going to take the rest of the 7.5 billion people, and we're going to divide that by half. Remove the half because they don't relate to anything that you do. We're going to take that 3 billion people, we're going to cut that in half as well. And then we're going to continue cutting in half and half and half and half. And I'm going to tell you this, I guarantee you again, you're going to find at least one person who you're going to inspire, who you're going to move, who's going to relate to you, who's going to say, God, thank you so much. Whatever you said or whatever you wrote, whatever, it really truly moved me. It really changed my perspective. It changed my life. And the interesting part is like my song Forgiveness that I mentioned earlier. I wrote that, I dedicated that song to my father because most of my trauma, my childhood was rough, and I didn't speak to him for 16 years. And I remember after I wrote the song, when I was shooting my music video in Thailand, I had a full-on breakdown. And that's when I started going to understand that, okay, I really need to go for this healing process. And so I write about this in this, I was asked to be part of the Women's Living in Alignment anthology. And I write about the whole process of my healing in this book. You can find it on Amazon if you're interested. There's about 20 other women who are part of it. But I didn't have any expectations for the song. I just put my heart into it. And I remember when my fans started writing to them like, wow, you changed my life. This song created a completely different space for me to learn that I have to forgive, or I need to ask for forgiveness. And when parents started writing to me like, oh my God, I just had a baby girl and I named them after you, I was like, why? Why would you name someone after me? I mean, it's not even my real name, it's my artist name, Juliana, but thank you. So even then, I was devaluing that which I achieved. So that really made me think, okay, again, going back to programming yourself. What are you programming yourself with? You know, your thoughts, your energy, where is it going? What's the point? What are you trying to accomplish? If you're setting yourself up for failure, that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to fail. But if you continuously, step by step, day by day, go through a process of, okay, let me heal, let me integrate, let me take one step forward. Let me heal, let me integrate, let me take one step forward. It will give this space for you to create. So clearing out this energy out of your space, out of your body is very important for creative flow, for creative juices to start flowing through you. So the next one is allow yourself to go through the healing experience. I already mentioned that. It's okay to use your imagination. We kind of talked about intuition. Intuition and imagination are two different things, but imagination I think it's for more. I was thinking about if somebody who writes like scientific work. I wasn't sure what kind of creative artists are coming into this workshop today, but like Sam Herbert said, and he's the writer of Dune. He said, "Fear is a mind killer," and it's so true. I mean, I'm sure you guys know who. I'm sure if you've never read the book, you maybe seen the movie called Dune, and it just recently came out. I think a year ago or so. Was it Universal who shot it? I don't remember. But anyway, he really did. And I read this book when I was 14 years old. And that phrase out of this entire book is what stuck with me. Fear is a mind killer. And it's true. Fear kills everything. And when we're afraid to imagine something, or we're afraid to write about something that might not be existent in this real world, right? So we're talking about more about sci-fi. Again, if we're afraid to share that, whatever comes through. And I mean, I have a very crazy imaginative mind. So sometimes I'm just weird. I'm just like out of this world. I'm an alien. I don't belong here. But there's nothing wrong with your imagination. Just write. Just keep writing. Just let that pen to paper. Let your hands fly. Let your fingers type on the screen on the your computer. Just keep writing. And just keep writing because whatever you think might be trash might be a bestseller. You never know. That's what I'm saying. You never know. So the next one is ask yourself, is it true? And that comes to the previous page where we were on, where your own self-worth judge. So when we're judging ourselves, ask yourself, is this true? Is this really true? What I'm thinking right now? And when you go and you start analyzing, you realize like, wait, that might be programming. That might have been programmed by someone else in my childhood to me, which stuck with me as an adult. This is why a lot of times I'm sure many of you have seen, like your childhood trauma is your responsibility as an adult to heal, to deal, to go through. And you can't blame your parents anymore. You can't blame this. You can't blame that. You have to take responsibility for your life now, here, today, at your age where you are in this space now. So that goes back to the imprints that I was talking about. All right, so now we're about to get into the breath work. And I don't know. If you guys have any questions, you can write the questions in the chat. Go ahead and drop them down in the chat. So let's see. I'm going to talk about, as I kind of just mentioned, about healing. Oh, actually, before we get into the chakras, I want to go into the personal advice from influential people. And I mean, these people changed my life. Okay, so when I was about 20 years old, I opened a show for Salvador Santana, Carlos Santana's son. I'm not sure if you guys know who he is, but he is a legend, Carlos Santana. And I was so scared. I remember it was my first time performing in front of people into the microphone. Before that, as an opera singer, I'm a trained opera singer. I mean, the way we project our voice is very different from singing into a microphone. And I was rapping too. Like he asked me to write some raps. I wrote some raps. And I remember right before getting on stage, I was like shaking. And Carlos came up to me and he said, if you don't feel it, they won't feel it. But if you feel it, the whole world will be on their knees before you. And that literally imprinted in my forehead, like literally. And I remember when he said that to me, I was like, oh, hell yeah. I'm getting out there. I'm ripping this part. And I sure did. I mean, we got standing ovations. It was really great. But that was like, wow, okay. So, and I started writing from that space, starting writing from the space of, do I feel it? Does this resonate with me? How is this part of who I am? Is this something that is this something that's authentic to me? Okay, next one is the only way to get to the result is action. You can't get the results you want if you keep trying the same strategy. Change your strategy, take necessary steps, take action, and look at the results. I mean, this is really funny because when I was going through shifting from my career, actually, I wasn't even shifting from my career. I started on my healing path, and everything else just kind of started falling away. And I was like, all right, well, I should probably go and take some psychology to understand what's wrong with me. What are the parts that needs healing? Like, where's this coming from? What are these thoughts? What do I do with it? And so I started taking online courses, and the online courses that I was taking were like life coaching. And it just happened that I was getting certified in it. I didn't go to it to get certified and to become a life coach. That wasn't my priority. It just happened that I started taking all these different courses, different things for my own self-healing, and now have like over 14 certificates. And now I'm a transcendental vedic psychologist. And and now I'm writing a new album. I really needed to say that. So for 8 years, I was on my way to self-healing. And now I'm here in Miami. I live in Miami now. I moved and I had to live again, going back to that integration, allowing yourself to experience the new you by gathering all this new information, by living a completely different new life, more aware, healthier. Oh my God, my songs are very different now. And I literally just recently I walked out onto the balcony, and I've been working so much. Again, I have so many online programs. You guys should check out my website, breathworksmiracles.com. But because I've been pouring out all this information out onto the paper, onto the computer, like sometimes I need to take breaks. And I was like, all right, it's time, my time to take a break. And I walk out onto the balcony and I open my arms like this to stretch out. All I did was stretch out. And I was like, I open up my arms into the sky. I was like, oh my God, okay, thank you. And I went to the piano and I started picking out chords and I wrote a song. I wrote a song in like 30 minutes. A completely different vibe, a completely different message, a completely different everything about it. I mean, even my chord progressions, my melodies, everything. The only same, I guess, would be my voice. But all right, so the next one is meditate. Oh, sorry. This one is a great one because this really, this actually really surprised me. But Sylvester Stallone said this: meditate on blank piece of paper. Set aside 1 hour each day and look at the blank paper. Be aware of your thought process. The rule is you can't think about anything else but the blank paper. So when we're talking about, creative blocks and everything, he said it's total bullshit. He didn't believe in it. He just said, basically, it's just your time where you set aside, you look at the blank paper, and you can't think about anything but the blank paper. And you look at it. And you look at it. And you stay with it. And he literally said that he looked at the blank paper for 2 months, every single day, for 1 hour a day. And then within 2 weeks, he wrote Rocky 1, Rocky 2. In a week, he wrote Rocky 3, then Rocky 4, then Rambo. So basically, he wrote all these different, what are they called? Scripts, right? Movie scripts, within a month. after staring at a blank paper, not staring, meditating on blank paper for 2 months, 1 hour a day. Brilliant! It's brilliant. But the rule again is that you can't think about anything but the blank paper. All right, so the next one is take your artist on a date. And that's by Julia Cameron. Take your artist for a walk, just the two of you. A brisk 20-minute walk can dramatically alert consciousness. Then record the reflections you made on this walk. It's really great. Like I mentioned before, when I started taking myself out on weekly, once a week, I would take myself out on an artistic date. I still do that till this day. At least once a week, I take myself out to an event where I try to meet somebody new, or I go and experience something new. I go to a museum, I go for a walk, I go to the beach, I do something because I can't say I'm a workaholic, but again, the information when it starts pouring through me, it just starts pouring through me and I have to write it. I have to put it on paper because it will not make me it like makes me insane. It really bothers me. It's like a conscious noise in my brain. So I have to put it out there. That way it like releases, relaxes, and then I have like space in my mind. The next one is by Gary Vaynerchuk. I love him so much. He really, like, meeting him was really amazing. He said, "There's no such thing as perfect. Chasing perfect is the shortest road to not achieving it." And I so agree that, because again, when we try to be perfect, many times we stop and we don't allow our creative to flourish and go forward. And it really comes from what I mentioned in the very beginning, is from our subconscious knowledge that our soul is perfect. And our soul is having the human experience. And so our soul is yearning for our human to be perfect. And so when we try to chase that perfectionist, that perfect self as a human, sometimes we forget that it takes time, that it's a process, that allowing yourself to make mistakes is actually going to allow you to grow and go forward and further. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Write them down in the chat, because we're going to move into the next section and I'm going to talk about the chakra, the sacral chakra, which is our creative chakra. And then we're going to go into the breath work. Okay, so and let's see, I want to go ahead and share the screen. Okay, so Swadhisthana is a sacral chakra, and the element of it is water. And it represents the flow, flexibility, freedom of expression when it comes to emotions and sensuality. And it's located in the navel area in our lower belly, and referred to as the sensuality or creative chakra. The function is desire, creativity, and pleasure. And the chakra blocks when there's a feeling of guilt, and it disturbs the flow of intimacy, creativity, and physical pleasure. So, well, I wanted to go into that because we're about to listen to one of my meditations from my 3-week meditation system. And it's tuned to sacral chakra, and you're going to hear a healing sound, he. The healing sound comes from Shinto shamanic healing sounds, vocal sounds, and they help break down lower frequencies. And then you're also going to hear a specific tuning So the difference between my meditation and the meditations that you hear on YouTube, for example, is that on YouTube, they're not actually tuned to the chakras. People don't know this, and that's fine. But this is why I'm selling my program, because I know this. And the specific tuning actually coincides and coincides with your sacral chakra, not with your heart chakra. And that's the big difference. So, we're going to go to breath work. So take a moment and maybe get some water and get comfortable. Get into like a sitting position, and you can lay down. It's probably best if you do lay down. And get comfortable. And is anyone here who's new to breath work? Everyone has their cameras off, so I can't see, but if anyone is new to breath work, could you please write down in the chat? Like conscious breath work. Okay, I guess everybody knows conscious breath work. I don't need to go over it. Okay. So go ahead and get comfortable. Sit down or lay down. And slowly just close your eyes. And begin breathing slowly. Oh, how do I do this again? And bring all of your attention onto your breath. Connecting your inhale with your exhale. And as you breathe in, go ahead and expand your chest, filling up your lungs with air. And go ahead and make a sigh. Take a nice deep breath in. And release on a sigh. Good. And one more time. Breathe in all the way into the back of your back. And exhale, release on a sigh, make a sound. And as you continue breathing, feel the ground beneath you if you're laying down. And if you're seated, feel that groundness in your sitting bones. And make sure that you place your feet firmly on the floor, on the ground. Just connecting Connecting to the floor, connecting to the ground, connecting to the mother, to Gaia, to our earth. And just imagine right now that you're dropping roots down from your body, down into Mother Earth. Visualize that these roots are spreading down, moving through the waters, through the boulders and the dirt and the earth, all the way down to the core of Mother Earth. And as you see this fiery ball of fire, go ahead and take in that fire and start moving that fire up through the roots, back up through the earth, through the dirt, from the boulders and the waters and the rivers. With your breath, moving this fire up, all the way up, as this fire enters through the soles of your feet, through your breath, moving that fire up through your shins, through your knees, through your hips, through your thighs. As you move this fire with your breath, go ahead and move it into your first chakra, Muladhara, the base chakra. And see this fire burn away any fears, any insecurities, any financial fears, doubts. See this fire burn it all away, creating the space that's welcoming security, abundance into your life. See a bright red jewel brightening at the bottom of your spine. See this red ruby color spreading up as you move the fire with your breath up into your second chakra, your sacral chakra, the home of Shakti, the home of your sensuality, your sexuality. Allowing this fire to burn away anything that's standing in the way of your creativity. Connecting to your womb, connecting to your lower belly. And if you feel like it, go ahead and put both of your hands on the bottom of your lower belly, your navel center. If you feel like it, go ahead and make some shifts and movements. They can be wide, they can be small, whatever you feel is called for you right now. And just for a moment, I want you to look deeper within and see if there's some sort of cords that you might need to cut that you haven't cut with any of your partners, sexual partners previously. Whether you're married, been married for 30, 40 years, it doesn't matter. Because those energies do still linger if you haven't cut the cords. So go ahead and imagine as you're pulling out a cord that might be connected still to your past lover. And if that person's image pops up, go ahead and invite them into space. Welcome them. And slowly begin exchanging energy, taking your energy back and giving that energy back to them, saying, all that is mine, come back to me now. All that is not mine, go back to its rightful owner. All that is mine, come back to me now. All that is not mine, go back to its rightful owner. Continue breathing. Stay with your breath. All that is mine, come back to me now. All that is not mine, go back to its rightful owner. And feel this energy of yours coming back into you as you let go of energy that no longer serves you and is not yours. And when you're ready, go ahead and pull that cord out fully and hold it in your hand until you're ready to release it. And when you release it, go ahead and take a nice deep breath in. And exhale and let open your arm and let go. Good. Continue breathing. And now breathe all the way deeper into your belly. And on your next inhale, go ahead and take a nice deep inhale and hold your breath on the count of 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Exhale. And take a nice deep breath and just breathe easy. Good. Go ahead and imagine a bright orange jewel brightening with each breath in your sacral chakra. Watch it brighten with each exhale, releasing of what no longer serves you. With that fire clearing the space out for yourself, for new juices, for new creativity, and welcoming it into your life. And keep breathing. Good. Keep going for your breath. Stay with your breath, stay present. Continue breathing fully with your entire body. You're doing great. We're gonna go for 10 more minutes. Continue moving your breath. With each inhale, spreading light through every cell of your body, spreading it out into your being. With each exhale, letting go of what no longer serves you. Good. Stay with your breath. Keep breathing into your heart. With each breath, expanding your heart even wider. With each breath, expanding and welcoming more love into your life. More abundance, creativity, clarity. And if at some point you want to shift the lower part of your body, you can do that freely. Can be slight movements with your pelvis, side to side, maybe round motion, just moving that energy through. And if you're sitting, you can also move your neck, your head, move your shoulders. Releasing any tension. gonna go for 2 more minutes. And slowly begin bringing yourself back into the space. Just taking a moment. Just checking in. How do you feel? Are there any new shifts within your body? Good. Go ahead and give yourself a hug. Embrace yourself with love. Gratitude. Compassion. Thank yourself for showing up, for taking this moment for yourself. Good. Go ahead and release your hands. Put your hands in a prayer position. Namaste. Well, thank you everybody for coming. I really appreciate that. And I wonder if anyone has any questions, any shares. Love to take some shares from you. We have a couple of minutes.
Just to say thank you, Julie. This is my first session with you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Welcome.
Julie, that was really profound and much needed today. I really appreciated the cord cutting. I had a situation come up this morning and said this was actually so synchronistic. So thank you. I have so much gratitude for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Julie. From a point of view of a songwriter, musician, that was great. you shared so much of your process. I learned so much from that, very inspiring. And also realized that I have a few chords I need to deal with, and that was great too. Wonderful presentation. Put it right here in my heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, everybody. Again, my name is Julie King. I am the founder of Trans Breath Multidisciplinary Program. You can check out my online programs at breathworksmiracles.com, which is my online school. My school is accredited by both the International Breathwork Foundation, and whose platform we're on right now, Breathing Arts Group, and also the Global Practitioner Breathworks Alliance. And it's been an honor to share this with you, and I'm very happy that we got to do this. So thank you, everybody, for coming. Namaste. Ciao. Oh, yes, I forgot. Yes, a gift. I got a free gift for you all. It's an ebook, 5 Tips to Self-Love and Self-Healing. Thank you, Tanya. I totally forgot about that. But it will help you get, it's all about pen to paper exercises. So it will get you writing. If you haven't been writing for quite some time, it'll start you on that roll to write again. So God bless everybody. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Take care.